is Fox 5 Morning News.
Welcome back. It started as a challenge nearly a dozen years ago, and this weekend, father and son duo Jeff and Spence Siegel will accomplish their goal, visiting every NBA arena and every Major League Baseball park in the country. Their journey and the lessons learned along the way are detailed in Jeff's book, RelationTrips. His book offers tips on how you can customize your own relationship to suit your family's interests, and Jeff and Spence Siegel are here to join us now. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
I love this. This is such a great idea. So you're here in town. This is your last stop,
yes.
And it's going to be at Nats Stadium. This is fulfilling the whole thing.
Yeah, an 11-year journey, Sarah.
I can't believe it. So tell me, how did this started, I guess? I was reading a little bit of the book. This is something that kind of came out of a cold night north of Chicago, where this just kind of came to you. Explain that to us.
It started as a way for me as a single dad to maintain a close bond with Spence. And initially it was a couple of sports geeks out on the road taking in ball games. And it grew from there and kind of morphed into what we've come to call relation trips. And a relation trip takes the common road trip up to a whole new level by turning it into a family adventure that begins weeks and sometimes months before you ever hit the road, and it lasts weeks and sometimes months after you roll back into your driveway.
Now, you know, there are a lot of families maybe that, you know, that do take road trips, but how is this different, you feel, than just taking, you know, just a regular road trip to, you know, the park or whatever? How is this different?
Well, it involves a lot of time that the family spends together through the various stages of planning and then living a relation trip over and over again after it's completed. The key is finding a common interest. Now, obviously, for Spence and me, it's sports, but it can be anything from roller coasters to historical landmarks to food to music, and it begins in the early stages by coming up with a name for the trip and a logo and doing research together and finding destinations and coming up with unique road games that you'll play on the trip and maybe playlists for the car and all sorts of things that really broaden out the road trip into making it a full-blown relation trip.
Yeah. Now, Spence, this started when you were 7 years old. You are now 18 and getting ready to go away to college. So this has been quite a trip, I guess, along the years. At what point did you realize, I mean, of course, as a kid, you think, this is pretty cool. I get to go to all these ballparks. But did you realize that there was something more going on with you and your dad that you thought, wow, this is pretty cool beyond baseball and basketball?
Yeah, I'd say after about trip number 3 or 4 or so, you start to get a good feel for what you're actually doing. And we go out on these vacations, and we use these as our vacations. It was winter break, spring break, summer vacation, whatever it was. And just by the end of it, it became, yeah, we're on the road a lot. So there's going to be a lot of communication, a lot of talking going on.
So at what point, you know, did you realize you could do this? Because that's quite a bit of planning, and, you know, that takes money to do as well during these economic times. How do people do that? What is your advice to folks maybe that want to be able to do this with their children and still keep it, you know, the budget?
Well, the great thing about a relationship, Sarah, is that the most important commodity is time spent between parents and their kids, and a close second is creativity. So it becomes a very cost-effective if you spread it out over the course of the time that you spend planning and living the relationship. And the book is filled with dozens and dozens of ways in which to use some of the ideas that Spence and I stumbled upon and customize them to your own family's situation so that you can create relation trips of your own.
Now, Spence, do you sort of feel like this shaped your life in a way that maybe some of your friends didn't get this kind of experience?
I would say it certainly shaped something, because obviously in the next month I go off to college and I'm going to be studying sports communications, so I'm pretty sure that has something to do with it. I would hope.
Oh, I think so. That probably has a lot to do with it. Any other advice for parents out there just trying to get started in this, how to really, you know, just get going?
Well, I think you need to start slow, as we did, and pick up maybe a couple of ideas that you haven't incorporated into your family travel in the past and begin to use those to build out some of these family trips so that they become these full-blown adventures, as Spence and I have had the privilege of enjoying over the last 11 years or so.
And we want to let people know that the book, again, it is Relation Trips, and it's really neat because there's a lot of pictures in here as well that kind of shows your journey. And you're going to be at a book signing that's going to be this Sunday, July 31st, 2 to 4 p.m. Hooray for Books. This is in Alexandria. And you're both going to be there, right?
Both going to be there. We'll be signing books and sharing lots of ideas. And if you want to come in and talk to us about a trip you're planning, we'll throw out some ideas to you as to how you can begin to turn it into a relation trip on your own.
Okay, and you'll be fresh off, hopefully, a Nats win
We hope so.
this
Go Nats.
weekend.
Yeah, looking forward to ballpark number 60.
Oh, I bet you are. This has got to be extra special for you both.
Very much so.
All right, it's been special sharing this with you. Thank you so much for
Thank you,
coming
Sarah.
in.
Thank